And we are back. Welcome, guys. My name is DK, and in this video, we're going to be breaking down the 8-game main slate over on Draftkings. Last slate before Thanksgiving. Again, no NBA games tomorrow. We do have 3 NFL games. If you guys are interested in more content from me, you can check me out over on Tails. Post DFS content as well as player props. It's been a massive heater for props and been a mini heater for me over the last few days for DFS. We'll recap that here in a second. But yeah, again, if you guys are interested in that, link is down below. And I will be on the Stochastic YouTube channel as well, 4 p.m. Central, doing the deep dive with Josh. So free show if you guys want to check that out too. All right, so let's recap last night for myself. So anyone that has subscribed to me on Tails and was in the stream last night knew that I wouldn't shut up about the Wizards starters. I was all over CJ, Sar, Middleton, and Koulibaly. I thought they were going way overlooked. I thought the minutes projected were light across the industry. And yeah, I thought it was really nice leverage because everyone was slamming the Wizards' value. You know, guys like Whitmore, Carrington, Champagny, guys like that. So I just played all 4 of those Wizard starters, basically stacked this game up. So 64 fantasy points from low-owned CJ. 24 from Koulibaly, who literally had like 18 in the first quarter and then did nothing the rest of the game. Alex Sarr at low ownership went for 50, and then Middleton at low ownership went for 41. However, it was unfortunate because the Atlanta Hawks, well, they could not score somehow against Washington. They got blown out. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Johnson was almost 70% owned in high stakes. He won for 30 fancy points. Porzingis was fine at 50% ownership. Nikhil was a letdown too. If this game would have stayed competitive, man, I would be planning my retirement. You know, would be done, shutting down the YouTube, would be planning my retirement, and wouldn't have to work another day in my life. But unfortunately, the Hawks get blown out for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And then, yeah, I went with Jared McCain there in the other game. I was kind of hoping for blowouts in the other 2 games. Unfortunately, the late game stayed competitive. Luka had a huge game, pushed me down, but still 3x the money. I was in first for a while, but yeah, I didn't have a chance at first place because the Hawks got blown out. Again, if it stayed competitive, oh yeah, I definitely had a chance at the big money. All right. So that was the recap there. Let's just get into the slate. We'll start off with New York and Charlotte. So no OG, no Landry Shamet. You do have Mitchell Robinson back. So starting lineup, I think they're going to go Cat, Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Mitchell Robinson, and then probably McBride. I know Josh Hart started last game. I assume he'll move to the bench now. I like the matchup a lot for the top 2 guys here in Cat and Brunson. Neither of them really stand out with their price points, but obviously both these guys are in play. The wings are a little bit pricey there with Bridges and Hart. You know, the guards like McBride and Clarkson feel priced about right. I do have some interest in $3,900 Mitchell Robinson. 22 minutes here, 17 minutes here. In the game, they were trailing, also dealt with a little bit of foul trouble, but I think you could definitely see like 21, 22 minutes from Mitchell Robinson here. So I do have some interest in him as value play for Charlotte. Still kind of tough to get to the Hornets. They're relatively healthy here, but yeah, LaMelo has really kind of just been in that high 20s minute range. So I think it's tough to go here. Now, is there a chance that, you know, he gets extended here? It's possible. He also dealt with a little bit of foul trouble. So if you wanted to play LaMelo in large field tournaments and hope that he goes back to like 35-ish minutes, I think you can do that. You know, I don't think we're going to get news on like, oh, LaMelo's no longer limit. He's full go. I think it's just randomly going to happen. So maybe it's today you want to take that shot. I think it's totally fine. Rest of the team, Bridges feels priced right. Knipple's been playing extremely well. Also, his minutes are very secure. Even with like a fully healthy team, I still think he's playable. Brandon Miller, I think, will be in the mid to high 20s minute range. Feels tough to get to there. You know, Trey Mann is back. Makes it hard to get to Sexton. Kalkbrenner and Diabate will split the center position. Both these guys, I think, are playable because of the cheap price points. 4.5 for Diabate and 4.2 there for Kalkbrenner. All right, Milwaukee and Miami. So Giannis currently is questionable. We'll keep an eye on this. Now, I want to know, we do have a lot of Miami Q tags on the other side too, but the line has moved a little bit in favor of Miami, so maybe a sign that Giannis is not going to play. But if Giannis does play and there's no limitations, I like Giannis in an up-tempo game here. So we'll just have to keep an eye on the news. He's been out for, last little over a week. So very important. If Giannis plays, I think it's really hard to get to anyone else on this team. If Giannis misses, I would have some interest in some of these bucks. Like Ryan Rollins was extremely popular last slate. I was on the fade that ended up working out, but he would be firmly in play. So last game they trolled and started Jericho Sims for no reason, but Bobby Portis came off the bench, had a good game in 27 minutes. I would definitely have some interest in Bobby Portis here if Giannis is out. Turner feels priced right. Kuzma's been so up and down. Trent, Cole Anthony, AJ Green are all playable. Cole Anthony had a decent game in 18 minutes. But yeah, like I said, if Giannis is in, I think it's tough to get to this team. For Miami, so so Norman Powell is probable. So he should play. But Wiggins, Jaquez, Jovic, and Drew Smith, all these guys are questionable here for Miami. So pretty important. This team's kind of tough to talk about right now with all the Q tags. If everyone is in, I don't think there's a ton here. You would probably see Khalil Ware move to the bench. I know he's been playing extremely well, but I don't think he would start. I think they would start Hero, Bam, Powell, Wiggins, Davion. I guess they could move Davion to the bench, but I think they want him out there as a primary defender. So keep an eye on that news. If a few of these guys end up missing, then Khalil Ware's minutes are way more secure, would most likely start. So Bam's been a little bit disappointing, but he's sub 8K. Hero in his first game back played 29 minutes. That's good to see. So yeah, like I said, this team is tough to talk about right now without getting more news. For the Pacers, relatively straightforward. No Naismith, no Quentin Jackson. Same guys that have been out are basically still out. In a competitive game, it's these three that are playing a ton right now. Siakam, Mathurin, and Nembhard. 35 minutes last game there for Siakam. 28 in foul trouble there for Mathurin. And then 37 last game for Andrew Nembhard. So I think all three are solid GPP plays. You don't expect any of these guys to be really popular. The rest of the team, so the minutes are way down on Tony Bradley, which is good for both Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson. Isaiah Jackson's been hovering around 20 minutes. Jay Huff kind of similar. So I think both the bigs are in play here for the Pacers, especially if they continue to limit Tony Bradley. The rest of the team, like Walker, Shepard, are just secondary plays. I do have interest in TJ McConnell, though, because of the price point. So he played 22 minutes last game. I don't think we're going to project him for 22 minutes, but even 19, 20 minutes of TJ McConnell at 3,600, he's going to stand out as a good point per dollar play because he's a high usage player, because he's a good point per minute player. So I like McConnell for value. For Toronto, no RJ Barrett. Last game, we did see Jacoby Walter get the start, kind of a spot start, so Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, love the matchup here for both these guys. I slightly prefer Barnes to Ingram, but like the upside in both. I think Quickly's a little underpriced here at 6,800. He should be in that low 30s minute range. I like Jakob Poeltl in a great spot against his Pacers front court. He'll probably be high 20s to around 30 minutes. Muklas Faley's been playing extremely well. He's basically playing the non-Poeltl minutes. He's honestly playable. Jamal Shed is not going to start, but is going to overlap a decent amount with Quickly. 24 minutes in back-to-back games. I like Shed for value. Walter, a little bit tougher to get to, but assuming he starts again, he's fine. I think I would just rather get to Shed off the bench over him. Minnesota and Oklahoma City. So Minnesota running basically the same rotation. It's a tougher matchup, but I could see them, playing the main guys a little bit more here. Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, fine for tournaments, but there's not a ton else here that stands out point per dollar wise. I think you can make the argument for any of these main rotation players, any of the starters plus Naz Reid, I think you can make the argument for, but there's not a ton for me that stands out in Minnesota. For Oklahoma City, so still no J-Dub, still no Aaron Wiggins. SGA is questionable. He did go through shoot around, so I'm expecting him to play. Oklahoma City has blown out, the last 8 teams they've played? I can't remember the last time we've seen a competitive game here for OKC. So yeah, 11K for SGA. I think it's tough to get to. The bigs feel priced right. There's nothing really that stands out to me here for Oklahoma City. I will say Isaiah Joe has been closing every single game in blowouts. So if you think this game does get out of hand again, Joe would most likely benefit there. But yeah, this should be a good game to watch, but not so much for DFS purposes. Memphis, still no Ja. We got Zach Edey questionable, which is pretty big news. When Edey went down, you saw a huge game for Jock Landale, 26 and 10. I would say that's definitely an outlier, but he would most likely start there if Edey does not play. Jaren at 7-8. He's just going to continue to play around 30 minutes. You did see Aldama still play 33 minutes last game. I think his minutes will be a little bit more secure if Zach Edey is out. But Vince Williams, Cam Spencer, they're going to split the point guard position. I think Spencer probably a little bit easier to get to because of the salary. Landale will not be in play if Edey plays. If Edey misses and Landale starts, I think he's fine at 4.9. But as we talked about basically all year for Memphis, they're just running a deep rotation to continue to spread out the minutes. Jalen Wells' minutes have ticked up a little bit recently, 30 plus over the last couple games, but still not super confident that he's going to play 30 minutes consistently. For New Orleans, so still no Poole, still no Herb Jones. I expect the same starting lineup, but you did see Messi and Alvarado play extremely well off the bench last game. So there's a chance that like Messi starts over Derek Queen. Alvarado started over Fears in the second half last game. Zion 8,200 should be around 30 minutes. I think is a decent option at that salary. Trey Murphy feels priced right. Derek Queen at 6,400 obviously didn't have the best game. Only played 17 minutes. Messi just had a huge game off the bench. If he starts again, though, I think you can go right back to Queen. I think the ownership will be much lower after he burned a ton of people, including myself, the other day. Jeremiah Fears, only 24 minutes last game, but that's because Alvarado had the career game off the bench. Sadiq Bey should continue to start. And then, guys like Messi and Alvarado are still in play. I don't think we can expect what we saw last game, right? 38 fancy points for Messi and 42 for Alvarado, but they're still viable value plays for sure. If either of those guys start, then I feel a lot better about them. Houston and Golden State. So Houston pretty short-handed here. We got no KD, no Tari Eason, and no Steven Adams. So I'm expecting the starting lineup to be Şengün, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, Reed Shepard, and Okogie. Off the bench, I think we're going to see Aaron Holiday. I think we're going to see JD Davidson. I think we're going to see Clint Capella. So that's the 8. If it was to be a 9th guy, probably the dust of Jeff Green would play a few minutes. But I'm expecting a tight rotation here. So good amount to like for Houston. I like Şengün at the top a good amount. 9,900, expect high 30s minutes from him. I know he's been a little bit disappointing over the last couple games, so not super worried about that. Amen Thompson, more usage, more ball handling without KD. He's a guy that can stop the stat sheets. The top 2 guys for Houston look pretty good. The minutes on Jabari Smith are way more secure, dealt some foul trouble, still played 32 minutes. I think he'll be in the high 30s minutes, assuming no foul trouble. Reed Shepard didn't have the best game last game in 27 minutes, but still, assuming he starts again, stands out as a pretty good point per dollar play. Okogie, not going to be a super high usage player, but played 30 minutes last game. They're going to need him to play a lot here. I think he's a good value play. Aaron Holiday had a good game off the bench. I would say a bit of an outlier, but he's going to play decent minutes because of how shorthanded this team is. JD Davidson's even going to play. I feel obviously better about Holiday's minutes than Davidson. And then Clint Capella. Golden State tends to play a little bit more small ball, but Clint Capella is going to be that Steven Adams role. Now, do I expect Clint Capella to play the same minutes as Steven Adams was? Adams was usually in like the low 20s. No. But I do think Capella can definitely be in the high teens minutes, and the flat min price makes him in play here. Golden State, no Kuminga, no Horford. Draymond Green is probable, so he should be good to go. I don't think there's a ton that stands out to me. I think that you can play, Steph or Jimmy Butler at their respective salaries in tournaments, but as far as optimal build wise, those guys not really standing out. 6'3" for Draymond feels priced right. I don't know. There's nothing really standing out to me for Golden State. We know they run a very deep rotation. Like you saw Gary Payton pick up the start last game for Draymond, but he should move back to the bench. His minutes have ticked up recently, so I guess you can consider a $3,400 Gary Payton, but they're going to run a very deep rotation here. Finally, a couple games. San Antonio, Portland, no Wemby, no Castle. Dylan Harper is questionable, could be back there. De'Aaron Fox at 9.3K. I think this is a solid contrarian play. This is a high total game. Would like a little bit more there if Dylan Harper does not play. Devin Vassell feels priced about right. Keldon Johnson's been playing really well off the bench. I think he's a solid point per dollar play. Will most likely be in the mid to high 20s minute range. Cornette's been disappointing since moving the starting lineup outside that first game there against Sacramento. But still 25, 23, 28 minutes does make him playable as a contrarian center play. The wings, guys like Barnes, Champagny, Sohan, I would like a little bit better if Harper's out. Olynyk playing the non-Cornette minutes, but they're not playing all 48. You are seeing some small ball too, which does make Olynyk a bit riskier there. Portland, so no Holiday, no Scoot. Shaedon Sharpe is questionable. Kind of lean that he plays. Now keep an eye on the news. He's been out for about a week, so there's a chance that he's limited, but I don't think it would be like a strict limit at all. Denny at 9,500. If there's no Sharpe, I would like him. If Sharpe is in, I feel like he's priced right. Sharpe himself, like I said, keep an eye on the news. If he's in, no limitations. I think he's totally fine there. Guys like Grant, Kamara, Klingon, these guys are going to play a lot. All reasonable plays at their respective salaries. Klingon, decent spot here against the Spurs. Caleb Love's too pricey. If Sharpe is out, if Sharpe is in. If Sharpe is out, still feels, I guess you can get to him. He'll probably play mid-20s minutes or so off the bench there. And then Rob Williams, if you need value, I think is fine. Good point per minute. Probably going to be in the mid to high teens minute range. We'll back up Donovan Clingan. Finally, Phoenix and Sacramento. So no Green, no Allen, no Dunn. So this expected pretty tight rotation here for Phoenix. Love the matchup here. So I like the upside quite a bit here on Devin Booker at 9,200. Dylan Brooks has been playing very well. He should be in the mid-30s minute range, assuming no foul trouble. Gillespie has a big role off the bench, should be around 30 minutes like him. Mark Williams feels a little bit underpriced right now. He'll be in the high 20s minute range. Jordan Goodwin will probably be around 30 minutes. He stands out as a pretty good point per dollar play. Royce O'Neal continues to play low 30s minutes. So there's a lot to like. I like basically all the rotation players here for Phoenix. Booker, Brooks, Gillespie, Williams, Goodwin, Royce O'Neal. The rest of this team, I mean, you're going to see a little bit of Nick Richards backing up Mark Williams. The issue is you're still going to see Oso in there as well. Finally, Sacramento. So got to keep an eye on the news of Dennis Schroeder. He is questionable. If Schroeder does not play, would feel a little bit better. How about the likes of like Westbrook and Malik Monk? If Schroeder is in, I think it's a little bit tougher to feel good about those guys. So yeah, Westbrook at 8-3. Like I said, I think I'll probably only get to him if there's no Dennis Schroeder. DeRozan, Levine in the 6K range. They're at a price point where they are playable now for sure. I don't think they're like amazing plays, but they're cheap enough where they're playable. Keegan Murray had the big game last game, played huge minutes too, 44 in overtime. I think he's going to be in the high 30s minute range, so I don't mind Keegan Murray there at the price point. Malik Monk, minutes been a little bit up and down, but like I said, if there's no Schroeder, I would feel better about him. The center rotation, so Eubanks has been starting, but the minutes haven't been great. It's been Achua playing a bit more. He played 34 minutes last game, so there's a chance that they just start Achua here. So keep an eye on that. If Achua starts, I would like him a lot more. Okay, guys, so that's going to do it for the video. As always, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yeah, you can catch me over on the Stochastic YouTube channel at 4 p.m. Central. So have a good rest of your day, guys, and good luck.